Hello everyone, welcome to the channel, Melody Llama, and today we have our very first Are They a Fraud video of the Naruto series. And we could have started simple, we could have started with Naruto or Sasuke, but I'm choosing to start with Gaara of the Sand. This video was requested by your boy, this guy right here. So shout out to Goober Goofy who requested this video. So you got Is Gaara Fraud as the first Naruto video. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Is Gaara from the Naruto series a fraud? I've explained in the Dragon Ball videos, but for those of you who don't watch those Dragon Ball videos and you want to start here with Naruto, so what determines is a fraud is basically not only a win-loss record, but examining who you're losing to, who you're beating, why you're losing to them, why you're winning. A lot of different factors are going to determine whether you're a fraud or not, so let's jump right into it with Gaara. Gaara's real first battle is going to be against these like rain bums, or I think they're from the rain, no, they're from the Mist Village. These Mist Village bums that don't really do anything. This guy has a neat umbrella, I guess, but you know, we get the Sand Coffin here, which is sick. You have Akamaru shitting himself, so right off the bat, very menacing vibe, very good performance for Gaara. It's a squash match, right? Like, Gaara's not beating anybody of note, but it makes him look really good. Speaking of looking really good, when he first debuts and he appears behind Sasuke upside down on the tree, that's aura already. He's already beating the fraud allegations from the jump, but let's continue. But Gaara's first real fight is going to be against Rock Lee. For context, up to this point, Rock Lee is kind of a nobody, you know. I mean, he did stunt on Sasuke being, you know, he was alright at the time, right? If you compare Sasuke to the other Genin at the time, he was solid, right? He could probably beat all of, you know, Shikacho. Maybe he could beat Shino, like, prior to getting the Sharingan. That's more debatable, Hinata, you know, but Lee did defeat that Sasuke, so, you know, Lee's no slouch. Lee is painted as the ultimate underdog going into this fight, and Gaara the ultimate threat. What that really means is that Gaara can't have this groundbreaking performance. Or can he? You see, when Lee removes the weights, you know, he's dancing on Gaara. Gaara's kind of being put on the back foot. It's not a great look, right? This guy don't even use ninjutsu, right? Even though Lee's a monster, Gaara is getting packed up here. But when he goes into the gates, it's very clear that Neji can't even beat this Lee, this like 5th gate Lee or 4th gate Lee. I don't remember what it was. But regardless, he's pulling all the stops out for Gaara. So you'd think Gaara's gonna get this gonna take this L. But no, he takes the fucking W. You see, it didn't matter what the fuck Rock Lee did. It didn't matter how many gates he whipped out. Gaara was just him. He was naturally just him. So, fraud he ain't. You see, Lee exhausts all his strength, and Gaara is so strong that he still crushes his arm and leg, and then proceeds to, by the way, he has Might Guy stop his attack. He has a Jonin jump in because of how much aura he had. And then he just gets up and walks it off. Crazy work. And I know people are going to bring up that, you know, Gaara's not really fighting, right? The Living Sand is doing most of the work for him. Look, I don't give a damn, alright? It just means that he has so much aura, he doesn't have to lift a finger. So that's still a fair dub on my book. So the next fight he has is against Sasuke Uchiha in the actual tuning exams. And Sasuke's hyped up as probably the strongest Genin of them all. He washes Neji. Basically no diff, but you know what? That's a conversation for another day. But Gaara versus Sasuke happens, and I'm not gonna lie, Sasuke puts belt to ass, okay? That Chidori was no joke. He had Gaara screaming. Gaara was bleeding for the first time. He didn't know what to do. But Gaara, he a tailed beast, right? So he whips out the Sand Spirit. He goes insane and, you know, makes Sasuke food. Sasuke's a prodigy, right, of the Uchiha clan. He's someone who is heavily respected. Hell, before the fight even happens, the entire Lee village is in the stands like, this tuning exam's a ripoff because I paid tickets to come watch your boy. He was basically the Rock out there, getting everybody on the seats. And, you know, it was looking like he wasn't going to show up and people were pissed. But he ended up showing up. So Sasuke has a lot of hype. Gaara, yes, isn't the underdog because obviously the arc has built up Gaara to be this monster. But let's not forget what kind of prodigy Sasuke is. Hell, he surpasses Lee basically in just a couple days. And before the damn fight, right, Gaara was already putting the fear in Naruto and Shikamaru in both the hospital and the hallways. Like, Gaara was just insane. He was moving out here like King Von when he was younger. So we then move on to Gaara running the ones against Naruto. You see, Gaara's packing up Sasuke so bad that Naruto has to come make the assist. Sasuke has to tag him out, or tag him in for this occasion. And Naruto actually has to pull out straight plot armor to take out Gaara. I'm talking about QB amps out the ass. I'm talking about summoning a Sanin level Gamabunta just to throw hands with Gaara. Now, I can't give Gaara too much credit here because it's not really Gaara doing the fighting because he's just relying on the one-tails. Honestly, this doesn't make Gaara a fraud, but I'm not going to give him credit for actually running the ones with Gamabunta. He did not do that shit. So, Naruto, yeah, Gaara lost here, but it's kind of like, it doesn't really affect Gaara one way or another. But Gaara's not done with the OG Naruto series because later on he saves Rock Lee from Kimimaro. As if he did not embarrass Rock Lee enough, he now saves this man from one of the Sound 4, the strongest of the Sound 4, I guess the Sound 5 if you include Kimimaro. But yeah, Gaara fights this guy, and Kimimaro is kind of a beast, right? He is the biggest prodigy that Orochimaru has in his disposal at that time, considering the fact that all the other Genin are struggling really bad with the Sound 4, some even losing their fights, and Kimimaro just tossing around an enraged, mentally amped, QB amped Naruto and Rock Lee. Yeah, Gaara goes crazy here. He runs the ones of Kimimaro, and honestly, he doesn't really win this battle, considering the fact had it not been for Kimimaro's illness, he would have, he would have lost his life. But let's just talk about the fact about Gaara doing as well as he did, okay? Kimimaro is a guy who bullies Jugo on the daily, and we later find out just how strong Jugo is. So Kimimaro is no slouch at all. So for Gaara to even fight this guy is kind of wild. The Sand Tsunami is one of the most epic shots in all of Naruto. It's a cool-ass move. It's a grand scale move that a Genin is performing. So look, even though he doesn't really win this fight, it's definitely not a fraud performance. So we're going to move on to Naruto Shippuden, and he has a fight early on, and that is against Deidara. Now, Deidara is one of the members of the Akatsuki, and he is capable of taking on Tailed Beast, okay? He's another monster. He's an S-class rogue ninja, and Gaara has to run the ones with him while protecting his own village. So yes, Gaara also loses this fight, and he kind of has a buff and a nerf, because he's buffed because obviously he's in the sand village, but he's nerfed because he has to use a lot of that sand to protect his own village. So again, Deidara, he does pretty damn well against a heavy Sasuke, a Sanin level character. So, take it as you will. Deidara even fights Naruto in his Three Tails form. Gaara losing this battle doesn't really mean a whole lot. He does very well. Yes, Gaara does take a little bit of a hit to his aura in Shippuden. I'm not gonna lie, he loses a bit of that menace factor, but he can still throw hands, or throw sand in this case. Now, Gaara doesn't really do anything all the way until the 5 Kage Summit, which is a minute from this arc, right? This is the first arc of Shippuden. He doesn't do anything until the semi-last arc of Shippuden. And in that arc, he doesn't really get a fight either. He just intervenes between Sasuke and the Raikage, but this brings up a whole discussion on how fast his sand is, right? Like, he blocks the Raikage and the Amaterasu, which are both like these light speed, very fast techniques. So Gaara is just a beast here for no reason. Keep in mind, he lost the One Tails in the first arc of Shippuden, so how he's getting stronger, I couldn't tell you. And this leads to Gaara then fighting in the war. He fights against the previous Kage. He's fast enough to catch the third fucking Raikage, who's a light speed character. And he does very well against Mu and Gengetsu and all the previous Kage. Again, Gaara is someone who became a Kage at a very, very young age. I believe he's like 14 or 15 when he becomes Kaze Kage in Shippuden. It's ridiculous. Like I said, Gaara does lose a bit of that menace factor, but it doesn't mean that he's any weaker or he starts to lose fights he shouldn't lose. Gaara is kind of that guy, okay? His last fight is against Madara Uchiha, and he loses and gets kind of embarrassed alongside the other 4 Kage. And while that does take a hit to his aura, it definitely doesn't mean that he's a fraud. He's fighting against Madara Uchiha, probably the most aura-driven, the most full of aura man in all of Naruto. So yeah, Gaara losing that was kind of expected. Gaara loses to the guys that he needs to lose against, does very well when he needs to, and beats the guys that arguably he shouldn't even have beat, like Rock Lee. It was this big moment where he gets the 5th gate. You'd think that would turn the tide, but no, Gaara says fuck all that. Same for Sasuke. He only loses to Gamabunta, which is Sannin level, Deidara, who's like Kage level, and Madara, who's beyond Sannin level. So he is losing to the guys he should lose against. And keep in mind, he's losing to guys who get stronger and stronger and stronger. So he's also getting stronger as the series goes on. So the question must be asked, is Gaara a fraud? Fuck no. Gaara is not close to a fraud. He's that guy. He is the Kage for a reason. Put some respect on my boy Gaara's name. The 2nd strongest of the 5 Kage. You know, I'm going to throw that out there. You can watch my 5 Kage ranking video. But Gaara's kind of him. But that'll do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching my first video on Are They a Fraud in the Naruto franchise. If you guys have any other characters you want me to talk about, let me know down below. It doesn't even have to be Naruto. Just leave anyone down below and I could take a look at their history. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, the usual. Share the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm out. Bye.